June 16th, Wednesday workshop. Man made a computer. Computer didn't make man. So when we look at a computer, there's a lot of similarities. We are made like a computer. The computer has a body. We have a body. The computer has a memory. We have a memory. The computer has a hard drive. Well, that's a brain. We have a brain. And the computer has a processor. And we have a processor. Now, you know that. Just push that all to the side and leave that over there for a moment. And I'd like to share a little bit of my experience. I have discovered, and I don't know if anybody else has coined this, but I think I may have probably discovered this. Anyway, I'll claim it. The 2 P's. I call it the 2 P's. Processing and producing. Now, when you have a computer and you keep on putting information into your computer and it goes beyond the processing speed, what does the computer do? It slows down or it will hang. So therefore it can't produce anything when it's in that state, stuck state. Now, when you look at the 2 P's, I want you to look at those 2 P's in an energy way. Processing is an internal energy. Producing is an external energy. Now, we are trained right from the get-go to be productive, to be producers in some way, shape, or form. So we have a lot of producing going out and very little processing going in. So the other day, after a day of sessions, I decided to have a little quiet time to myself, just laying on the bed, relaxing. I started to process the whole of the day. Just naturally, I just started going through things. Everything, like people I'd bumped into, interactions with people, how this went, how that went. I was just going through that step by step. And what I noticed was, every time I went through a little part of that processing and I came to the end of that processing, I learned something. So a short process occurred and then I learned something. Then I would process the next segment of whatever happened. I would learn something. And so I went through all of this processing. Perhaps I was processing for about a half an hour or so. And then I realized how important processing is. Because you can't learn anything until you process it. And if we are trained to be producers and not processors, it's out of balance. And if you're trying to fill your computer with a lot of outward things, such as learning different things, goals and all of that, and your processor is not able to keep up, you're going to get stuck. It will jam. And then what we do is we try to learn more stuff, how to get unjammed, which is putting more stuff in. So this started becoming very clear to me, and then I started seeing how that everybody has to process. I was processing my own processing. I thought to myself, well, what about if I could process everything immediately so that I didn't have to wait till the end of the day or sit down and go through everything to process it. Then I realized my processor's slow. I have a slow processor. Then I realized that my processor's very old. And I never realized that I could upgrade my processor. Never even crossed my mind until then, because I thought, well, if it takes me this long to do this, this is a slow process. I don't want to keep going through all this processing, so I have to learn all this step by step. What about if I could process it straight away? What would that entail? That would mean I'd need a new processor. Well, all of you are also working with a computer, like I described. All of your processors are old. They're outdated. So you're using the same processor of 20 years ago, but you're trying to put more information into it. You know how that works out. But then I realized, I said, okay, so I'm going to create a new processor. So right there and then, because I was able to recognize my processor and how archaic it was and slow it was, and realize it had been doing as good a job as it had, I didn't realize I could upgrade my processor. No one ever told me. Has anyone ever told you that you could? So if you never knew that, you'd go on in your life using the same processor. That processor that was in the first computers that came out. Now, some people will have a faster processor than others. And some people will process a little differently. Some people will process through their feelings. And I have a feeling most people process through their feelings. When you've processed the things through your feelings, you then produce with your mind. Your mind then makes a decision once you've processed. If you don't process, you can't make a clear decision. You know what that's called? Confusion. So there's something really fundamentally interesting about this, and the fact that you can update your processor. And one of the ways that you update your processor is first making the decision that you can. And you can, because the processor that you have now, you kind of inherited it. It's like a second-hand computer processor. You inherited it, unless you are really, really intelligent. What I'm suggesting, what I'm offering and inviting you to do here is to check how you process things. And if you feel like you process things slow or not as fast as you like, you can update your processor. Then when I was in that moment saying, well, what if I could process everything immediately? Man, I'd be able to produce more rapidly, more efficiently, more effortlessly, more smoothly. So my production also becomes enhanced. Makes sense, right? Then I started thinking, well, what slows down a processor? You know how I usually do the cleanups? We do cleanups. I'll call it a cleanup. Now I'm going to call that cleaning out your cache. I think that's how you say the word, isn't it? Cache. C-A-C-H-E. Cache. Because you've got an accumulation of all of that cache in there and you haven't got rid of it. It's just there. Then you've got folders with a whole lot of stuff in there you don't use anymore. And it's just taking up space in your system. And that's why I always do the cleanups before. What I was actually doing was cleaning your cache and helping you to get the rubbish out of your folders. And it's all started really making sense. Right at that point, I made that decision to update my processor. Immediately, I felt more intelligent. And I'm not joking. I started looking at things And I was getting the information instantly. And I was like, normally I'd have to look again. Like if it was a word I was typing, say I was typing, checking out some music, and I had to type, and I'd look and then I'd look and look. I was just looking and getting it in one go. And I noticed immediately, as soon as I made that decision, as soon as I made that recognition that I could update my processor, it updated by itself. It only needed the permission to do it. The reason why your processor never updates is because you never asked it to. But you have been continuously learning and putting stuff in and filling up your computer with everything, because everybody says do that. But no one tells you, well, okay, you're going to put all this in, update your processor so you can process it quicker and be more efficient. Wow. The light bulb went on. And so I put it immediately into effect. And since that time, I felt like a completely different person. I feel more efficient. My confidence has improved. I feel that I can take on things with more gusto. It was an instant change. So what we're doing in these classes is we're cleaning the cache. We're emptying the folders. And then when we go into the hypnosis, we are updating our processes. And I didn't know I was heading in this direction. It just all kind of fell into place unexpectedly. And the reason why I was able to do that is because I was able to step outside of my thought process and watch what my thought process was doing and the processing. That got me really excited because now I can share that and you guys can update your processes if you'd like. So that's what we're going to do today. I want all of what we've just said, and I'm recording this session, so I'll be able to give you this session later so you can go over it again. What's the first thing that people usually ask when they're buying a new computer? What's the processing speed like? Anyone who's pretty tech heavy, right? That's all they're interested in. How fast is it? How much memory and how fast does it go? There's a reason for that. Well, you guys are a computer. In fact, biological computer. And you're a soul operating that biological computer. Your body, your biological body, is your vehicle that you're moving around in. So you're able to create a biological computer that functions more efficiently. It's a computer. You just didn't know. You just didn't know how to. So this is really exciting. It's an exciting breakthrough. So with that being said, we will move forward. Now you can get yourself comfortably, relax, lay down. Make any final adjustments in your body if you need to. Just allow your breathing to be easy, soft, and full. And allow yourself to become present with being present. As best as you can. Just simply being here. And with whatever you're feeling, just make friends with that. And I want you to really take to heart this idea that you can upgrade your processor, upgrade your processing speed. And what would that mean for you if you were processing things faster? What would you be able to do differently than what you're doing now if you could process things? See, what processing really is when you go through that process of events and come to a conclusion. And then you either like that conclusion or you don't. And then based on whether you like it or not, you then make a decision in which direction you're going to go in. So what about if you could make these decisions much quicker? Can you imagine how much more life you could experience? And just being honest with yourself right now, do you feel like your processing speed is up to speed? Or does it feel sluggish? Does it feel like you've never even thought about it? And now that you do think about it, does it sound like it's ever got any faster than when it was? Or perhaps maybe it slowed down? Because basically, it hasn't had much attention. It's been forgotten about. So I'd like you guys today, if you like, to take the invitation to make a decision right now that you'd like to upgrade your processor. And you don't have to know to what level, or perhaps you do. If you do, even better. And if that seems a little kind of out of reach for you, just think about when you've had a computer in the past, and perhaps it was an old one, and then a few years later you purchased a new one. How much more fun that new computer was to use. You thought the old one was good until you got the new one. Or iPad, or even your phone. The phone has a processor as well, and that's the main thing people are going for with new phones. What's the processing speed like? What's the processor like? There's so much emphasis on the processor, and yet we've overlooked our own processor inside because we're trained to look outside all the time. And we miss our own importance, our own self-care, because we're so distracted and pulled toward producing. And there's nothing wrong with producing, it's great. But it needs to be in balance, because when you're producing equally with your processing, you're in balance and it feels good. It feels fulfilling. And you don't feel like you're here, but you're trying to get there. Or you're trying to get there so you're not here, which creates tension and stress. Whenever you're not in the present moment, you're creating stress in your body. If you do a job that you don't like, and there's a subconscious feeling like you don't want to be there, you're creating stress because you're being there, but unconsciously you don't want to be there. So you're forcing a stressful situation, and that's why, after a while, it takes a toll on the body. So when you can start to align with things that you enjoy doing, you naturally become more present. And when you naturally become more present, you naturally process easier. So here's something very interesting. I'd like you to focus on your breathing right now. But I want you to not engage in your breathing. Watch your breathing, but don't interfere with it. Let your breath be unconsciously breathing and observe that. I bet you can only do it for a moment. Because there's a feeling of wanting to control your breath. But when you can simply relax and just let your breath breathe itself and watch it, you've moved into a different level of consciousness. You've moved into the spaciousness of consciousness. Try it. Let your breathing breathe itself and observe it without interfering. It'll feel like you're jumping from one side to the other. Try to find that middle place where you're not interfering, yet you're observing the breathing. And if you find that you're engaging in making your breathing consciously, just be with that. Realize you're doing that. Be present to that. But then be present also to when you're not consciously breathing and you're focusing on your breath, because I'll guarantee when you're not focusing on your breath, you're thinking about something. And when you're thinking about something, your breathing is happening by itself. What I'm saying is, can you bring your mind into alignment with watching your breath? Because if you can't, that means your mind is controlling you. You're not controlling your mind. If you can practice this, even if you can get a few seconds of being in that moment where you were able to observe your breathing without getting involved, you'll feel a tremendous feeling of peace. and you'll be able to understand how you've been identified with your body. Completely. Relax. As I count down from 1 to 10, just let yourself drift now. As we plant the seeds for newness, well-being, and becoming more efficient in this way of learning how to process. 1. Allow each number to simply go ahead and create a pathway for you to follow. 2. My voice goes with you. 3. Allowing the body to simply relax. Release. Let go of trying to control the body now. Just let it be. 4. And begin to focus into one of your other bodies, energetic bodies. Let your physical body relax and let it just peace out. And you can bring your consciousness into one of your light bodies. 5. And as you bring your consciousness into that awareness of feeling, 6. The physical body will simply just drift into the distance, perhaps feeling very heavy and relaxed, sinking down. Some people say that as they focus into the light body, they feel like they're sinking down through their physical body a few centimeters, even down into the floor. Some people claim they feel a gentle, very gentle swaying from side to side or rocking. This is why babies enjoy being rocked, and it soothes them. 6. So allow yourself to become open to a new experience in this safe place to explore. Deeper relaxed. 7. Simply drifting, softly, easily, effortlessly, like a feather just drifting down from the sky, floating. 7. 8. 9. 10. 'As your body relaxes, you're traveling. Journeying the inward journey, the curiosity, the beauty. So now, can you be aware of your whole body that occupies space in space? Become aware of the space around your body, that your body's occupying space. Around your feet, soles, top, legs, trunk, arms, feeling your arms in space, occupying space, shoulders, neck, all around your head occupies space in space. Bring your awareness to that awareness around your body. The subtle energy body. Each time you do these sessions, you're able to receive deep healing in the physical body, nervous system, immune system strengthening. By doing absolutely nothing, allowing the miraculous magic of your intelligent body to heal itself just by you moving out of the way. Not interfering, and bringing your focus and awareness internally into a constructive, positive intention. Feel the awareness around the body again. And could you begin to sense the whole space around your body and the space in the room that occupies space? Could you use your awareness to feel, sense the space in the room that occupies space? All the walls, the roof, the floor, sensing the space that occupies the room, the space in the room that occupies space. And then could you take your awareness outside the room, beyond the walls, beyond the roof, beyond the floor, extending your awareness of space out into the space that occupies space. the infinite space that occupies space. And you begin to know you can perceive so far into that spaciousness. It opens up you, expands your consciousness. You've been so contracted for so long. You've been made small by your own judgments, comparisons. And yet you can feel this awareness of spaciousness, which is so incredibly large, all around you. And this seeps down to the physical body and opens space in between all the joints. It opens space in the lungs. It opens space in all the vertebrae and lets them breathe. It opens space in the body so the body can feel more mobile, more flexible, more agile, less grinding. It opens up your body because you're using your consciousness, and you are consciousness, and your body is a form of consciousness. It's just a different frequency, vibrating on a different frequency. And you can choose. You can be in your awareness. Enjoy the lightness, the freedom. Play with it. We are so serious every day. So serious. And there's this beautiful delight of awareness you can enjoy. You can bask and play in. And the more you do it, the deeper you can enter into it. And this is where all your creative ideas, fountain, appear. You see symbols, pictures, ideas, and concepts in this playful area. You cannot be creative when you're tense and serious. There's no room for creativity. With your awareness now, you're creating space to play in. And not only that, you're doing it all together. As a group, each one of you pooling in your awareness, and all of your consciousness is working together. There's a friendliness, there's a bonding, there's a recognition, a remembrance. And if any fantastic ideas or a symbol that is striking and looks interesting to you, or a concept just simply appears in front of you, or perhaps a cube, and you start to play with the idea. Turn it, spin it. You can bring these new ideas and concepts and symbols with you all the way up to the conscious level of awareness. On the completion of this session today, you will remember you are diving deep down in the awareness, the consciousness of your subconscious mind, where all of the playful things occur, where all of your creativity exists, all of the colors and the hues, the lightness, deep lightness, perhaps you're like a cloud, simply drifting, floating, changing every moment, but still a cloud. Just surrendering to the float and seeing where that may take you. Perhaps it leads you to a place that has something very special, that's always been waiting there for you to discover. In these sessions, you are redirecting your power and energy to work for you inward. It's self-care, self-caring. It's a form of loving. The inner child. And for a while now, your breathing has been occurring all by itself. But you probably weren't aware of it, because your consciousness was somewhere else. And perhaps now you're aware of your breathing again. And there'll be that feeling that you have to engage in it. And you can begin to play with this to and fro as you simply relax now and enjoy the healing portion of this session. reach the number 1, your eyes will open. You will bring back with you anything that has been important on your journey. You can collect this and bring it with you. It is a gift from your subconscious, and you can bring this gift all the way up to the conscious so that you can examine this. Perhaps you have more than one, and that is fine too. Bring as many as you like. Each time you do this work, each time you invest into self-care time, you will access these gifts. You are in a gold mine, and you are bringing these nuggets of gold all the way to the surface. These nuggets of gold are important and valuable to you. You understand them, and no one on the outside can give you these internal gifts. Each time that you do these sessions, you're able to excavate more and more of these gifts and bring them to the surface and integrate them into your reality, changing your reality, changing your perceptions, changing your way of doing, changing your way of being, and most of all, changing your way of processing. All of this works for you. It literally works for you. 10. Acclimating back to the body, feeling the tips of the fingers and toes. 9. Eight, coming up, back to the here and now. 7, 6, 5, back to present time. When I reach 1, all of your senses working crystal clear and sharp. 4, 3, coming back to the here and now, feeling super refreshed and rejuvenated as you always do on every session you do this. You always feel good. It is always an enjoyable experience. 2, 1, eyes open, just remain. Feel your body. Acclimate.